Hi, I'm Nancy from Peace Coaching. Nice to see you again today. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about a concept surrounding communication in relationship. And it's kind of the reverse side of what we normally think of as communication. Normally we think of communicating as talking or even sending nonverbal body language to other folks. On the other side of the communication spectrum is listening. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about good listening. And the concept that I want to bring forward today is about good listening being having a different mindset to it. And so listening isn't even really so much about taking in information as to what we're going to do with that information. And also some pieces about like how do we take that in. We have a filter on our own ears that we take that information in through. And generally speaking, we can subcategorize that filter that's on our ear to two different kind of ways of hearing, and one being through the language of feelings and the other being through the language of logic, which is those are very different languages. And in marital relationships or relationships of love attraction, it is one of the tenets of attraction that we're going to speak the opposite language of our partner. That's why one of the number one things that I hear when I have a couple sitting on my couch is that we struggle with communication. Well, why? I have yet to have anyone who's sat on my couch and who has been unable to communicate with me, even people who speak English, my first language, as their second language. We manage to get the point across. So then the question becomes, why do we struggle so much with communicating? And people will even say, I have no problem communicating with my friends at work, or my boss, or my other friends, or potentially family members, whatever. What I really have trouble communicating is in my marriage. And it's because of those opposite languages that we struggle so much in that particular kind of relationship. But if we're talking about communicating and speaking in different languages, speaking in feelings to a person who receives in logic, or speaking in logic to a person who receives in feelings, we're also talking about the person on the receiving end who's listening through that opposite thing, and how can we basically get better at that. And that's kind of what I want to focus on. So the easiest statement that I can make about that doing that process well, that listening process well, is what happens if we can concentrate on listening to respond, versus listening to understand. And so the vast majority of humanity, and for many moons, the majority of the time, myself included, we listen in order to try to respond, or even more so, or even more pokey to the other person. We're listening to correct. Know how how you're perceiving that or how you're describing that is incorrect, and let me tell you the way I perceive it, and my way, by the way, is correct. And so when we are communicating in that kind of a way, we will poke and trigger other people's defenses, for sure. And so the concept that we're trying to work on then is listening to understand, and listening to really get what the other person is trying to say. The struggle and the really thing that's hard about that is that our partner, especially in a love relationship, is speaking a different language and we don't recognize it. Logic and feelings are very different languages. And so becoming bilingual in logic and feelings is a product of being able to listen, to understand the other person, recognizing that they look at it from a completely different perspective. And so that is food for thought for today, something to let roll around in your mind like a marble, and recognize, am I listening to understand this person, or am I listening to respond to them and ultimately even correct them? And recognizing that isn't true, safe communication. It will poke the other person's defenses. It will probably start a fight, and then we're off to the races and we're dissatisfied with our ability to communicate. So this is about listening to understand as opposed to listening to respond or correct. So hopefully that helps you, gives you something to think about. If you'd like to talk about it more, feel free to schedule an appointment on our website, peacecoachingworldwide.com, and hope to see you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.